here's the problem. I brought liberals onto my panels because I thought that it seemed like a lot of them had the same values that I thought weren't really liberal values, that underneath it all, they had leftist values. They had a sense, if nothing else, than a fairness, right? And that sort of, if they actually took that value to its, unfolded that, then they would realize that, like, capitalism is not based, and that, like, you've got to at least admit that we need to move past it, that it is a stage in our development, and it is not a good stage to stay in. Did it work? Not really. Not really. What happened was I was, like, in social groups with a bunch of, well, actually, not just with liberals, with conservatives. I had conservatives, by bringing liberals into my social group, I had conservatives forced into my social group. And that I found to be incredibly deleterious, right? Because although we might think with, a lot of us think with very careerist minds of, like, okay, well, let me make friends with this right-winger, and maybe later I can debate her and, have some clout from that, right? And of course, I'm not going to agree with Lauren Southern. I'll debate against her. I got to slay the dragon and just leave the dragon alive. Make sure the dragon stays alive so you can slay it again next week, right? And you don't see the problem with that. You don't see what that communicates to your audience when you're basically saying, hey, Lauren Southern has some problematic ideas, but gosh darn it, she's an okay person underneath it all. It is like, no, and no. That is not right. So yeah, we need some gatekeeping, right? And I'm not saying that, like, we're not trying to, like, you're not, Riley, nobody's saying, like, eat their... Remember, this is a person that thought that eat the rich was like a literal call to cannibalism, right? Nobody's saying that we're going to put you on a Subway sandwich and eat you, Riley, okay? Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know if that's your, like, some people's idea of a good time, like, but, no, that's not on the plans, right? What we're saying is that, like, it's not useful to, like, kind of just, like, integrate the left with liberalism. It causes confusion, and basically, instead of making what we were hoping would happen is to make liberal communities more leftist. But what happened instead was that leftist communities adopted liberalism without realizing that's what they were doing, because there was so much concern about anti-intellectualism that, the basics of understanding were not emphasized, right? So you got people that don't really know leftism or liberalism or communism or anything else other than it as a label, other than it as a affiliation, right? It is a social group. And when you have that outlook, it's really easy for that social group to just kind of drift, back into essentially liberalism. And right, and what does that do? That, because, like, the positive thing that came out of the 2016 election was the movement of the Overton window to encompass actual leftism for the first time in probably since the Cold War days, right? We had a stronger, like, sense of an actual left that it had existed in years and years and years. And the problem now is that part of that left doesn't realize it's actually not left at all, right? And they don't realize that there are right-wingers amongst them just kind of gaming them, just kind of playing them, just kind of pulling their strings, right? Because, like, that is part of liberal aesthetics, is, like, you got to accept what does the right wing say? We should probably talk to them. We should probably compromise them. We should probably start a fucking debate panel that causes us to grow, to nurture a right-wing ecosystem where none existed, to build careers for cat ears, you say, to build careers for people like CTV and Rob Noor, right? Just to be able to slay that dragon every week. And it's a shit show, it's a spectacle, and it doesn't help. You're not bringing them to the left. If you're Demon Mama or Vosh, you're maybe entertaining your crowd. But I gotta say, it's a hollow entertainment, right? I don't think that infotainment that, like, Demon Mama strives for, I don't think that is worthless, okay? But I do think that when too much dominance paradigm gets mixed in there and gets emphasized, you're diluting your praxis, right? And it's a sad thing, because like I'm talking about Demon Mama because she's one of the better, you know, one of the better large content creators out there as far as this goes, right? Not because I'm like trying to, you know, call her out, at least not tonight. You jumped on Dr. K's charity stream and had a great conversation. Really enjoyed it. We weren't spinning our wheels with liberals and libertarians. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I like the idea of panels, like, especially just like it might seem superfluous. It might seem like there's, you know, a debate, a panel, or whatever, you know, it's the same thing, a discussion, all the same thing. No, like framing it as a discussion means that you've got a space to maybe learn from each other, maybe agree on some things, and have that be okay. Because with debates, the impetus is to find something that you disagree on, even if you have to kind of like magnify a small difference. There's that impulse. Now, like, do I hate like contentious discussions, i.e. debates? No, but I like it better when they arise organically, when it's not like we're going to have a debate, when it's more like we're going to have a discussion, and, you know, if we feel like debating something, we will debate that something, right? But it's not, that doesn't need to be the dominant method of discourse, right? In general, it's overemphasized in our society. In general, dominance paradigm is way fucking overemphasized, and it is not a left value, right? That is a value of the right. That is a worship of power. And as I've said before, power protects no one, right? Just because you got a gun in your hand doesn't mean it's going to do shit for you when it gets knocked on the floor, okay? Power protects no one. Power doesn't care about you. What cares about you is solidarity. What connects you is solidarity. How you get there is by acknowledging your vulnerability, not by trying to hide it and trying to be some hard ass, right? By being real and stating what your weaknesses are and what your needs are, and trusting that other people, instead of saying, oh great, I want to take advantage of those, are going to say, hey, I've got weaknesses, I've got needs, maybe we can watch each other's backs. Right? As somebody with ADHD, this is extremely, like, you know, this is something that's intuitive to me, because I actually need people around me to kind of watch my back. There are some things that I don't notice that I should notice, right? But I just, because of my, you know, executive function or lack thereof, I don't tend to see. And I'm brilliant at other things, right? You know, I'm pretty good, right? I have a way with words, for instance, right? But like, if I'm not careful, I'm going to do something really stupid and all my fucking words won't matter at all. And that's why it's really nice to have other people around who can sort of like look at that and say, Irene, I know you're going to run the marathon, but are your shoes tied? Oh shit, they're not tied. Thank you. You know, and that's just like one small example. You know, we've all got ways that we can be interdependent without it making us weak. In fact, the more interdependent you are, the less dependent you are on one person, right? Like the interdependency like kind of weaves us together in a way that denies anybody that sort of coercive power over each other. And all my life, that sort of coercive power is what I've been trying to escape. I want to help others because I want to not, you know, be manipulated and used because I have to. And I don't think that's that spicy of a take, is it? Am I freaking Candide over here? Am I just like, you know, hopelessly naive or something? I don't know. Maybe I am.